Hello. Let's make sure that I can see this. All messages. Okay, cool. Howdy. Why is this all blown out light-wise? There we go. That's a little bit better. But hello. I was gonna hop on Instagram, but like it wasn't connecting or letting me connect or anything, so I guess I'm doing it here. This was not my original plan, but whatever. Same thing, really. Hello. Hi. Hello. I decided that I want to film tonight because I spent like all day napping on and off. It was ridiculous. I got like a ton of sleep last night and was just like napping. I feel like once every couple of months I just need a day like that where like I just get a ton of sleep. I don't know what it is. It's like an exhaustion thing. Ooh, reading Weed Liminal, huh? Do I need to do some eyebrow maintenance? Maybe a little bit. Hello. It's not super bad, but let's see. Nope. Nope. Doop. 2005 Pride and Prejudice, a gift. I really need to watch that because I feel like it's just a movie that I like to watch in the fall. I guess I really didn't need to do a trim up on the eyebrows, but whatever. I'm already in it. Where's this? There we go. I need to read newer woo-woo. I feel like that's like all that I read these days. I actually finally added some Scott Cunningham books to my wish list because I was so like no for a while because I just wanted the newer stuff, you know. I was sick of hearing everybody recommend it, so I added his Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs to my wish list, and his crystal one maybe, I want to say. I don't plan on getting those like super soon, but I'm going to at some point. Oh, nope, I am not a make bad, as you can tell. Right? Yeah, Cunningham used to be like the only thing that you could get, so I hear you. And now we have like all these options. I want to do like a green look today. So, do you have any plans for Halloween or Samhain? Not really. We're going to be doing our live stream for the House Out Book Club that day. So that's like my only plan really, and then I'll probably hang out with them after the stream and we'll like just chat and stuff. But yeah, those are my only plans because I mean, what am I gonna do? Like, there's nothing else to do. Do I want that deep of a green? Maybe. Probably not. So yeah. I don't think there's like a circle that I sometimes hang out with, but I don't think we're doing anything for Halloween because most of those people have kids, so they're doing like kid stuff, which is fair. Definitely not what I'm doing, but I don't have the green that I want. I thought I had some kind of like more metallic green than this. Apparently I don't, which is upsetting. Okay, I'll make this work. So yeah, I'm not doing anything for that. I mean, I'll probably do something for like the full moon, since it's a blue moon. But I've also heard conflicting reports where people are like, don't do anything. I mean, I don't do anything major, but people are like, just rest on a blue moon. So people are like, no, use the energy to like really do something. And I'm like, well, what's the answer? So we'll see. Why do I not have? I mean, I guess I don't use green that often, so I shouldn't be that shocked. But I just wanted to do like a green. Maybe I can use one of these. That might work. Okay. So yeah, those are my only really major plans. Like I said, book club is going to take up most of the time. We're going to maybe possibly dress up for book club. I might do like, if I really feel motivated, I might do like skull makeup that day. But I work that day too, in the morning. So, well, in the morning to afternoon, because I work Saturdays. So, hello. Since I'm on my phone, it's harder for me to see things as they come up. So, let me see. Can it pop up with like everything? Okay, there we go. Maybe then I can scroll back through. Do you have any tattoos? I have a small tattoo on my like hip. It's basically, it's like a drawn heart. It's ridiculous. That I got when I was 18 that I usually forget that I have. I do want to get on my port scar, I want to get like a Persephone themed tattoo, but if I get keloid scars, that's why I have this raised thing. So what they say for scars of any kind, to not get a tattoo for like 3 years until the scar is like fully healed, and then go to somebody that's like a scar specialist to cover it up. And then it's risky because like tattoos can scar. So like even this little thing, I got like a skin biopsy not that long ago, and it should just be like a normal flat scar, and it's even starting to kind of keloid a bit. So I'm really like, and this is just like where they barely scrape off any skin. So I'm like, should I get a tattoo, or is the tattoo gonna keloid? Like, I don't know. So I have to basically like talk to a tattoo like specialist that does scar stuff and figure that out. But if I can, then I want to get something like like probably like this big, maybe like palm sized, that would have like Persephone imagery on it. Like probably like, I don't want the skull to be the main focus, but like probably a skull that has like flowers growing around it, like her kind of flowers and like gems, and like a pomegranate and things like that, is my plan. That's like my only really major tattoo plan. If I can get more tattoos, I will. But I don't want to like get all these tattoo plans and then them be like, you can't get a tattoo, like you'll scar too bad. So we'll see. Because you get like a tiny little symbol, like a crescent moon, see how you react. Maybe. I mean, like I have the like I said, the I would say that the heart is like, I don't know, like this big that I have, and it's just an outline, and that really hasn't keloided, has it? I don't think so. I mean, it looks shitty as fuck. Like, it just looks bad. Man, that looks bad sometimes. I don't even pay attention to it. It's almost like a birthmark. It's just black. But that didn't keloid. So yeah, and I like the ones, I like mostly, like black and white tattoos, and I like the ones that are like really delicate looking, that are almost like dots. They do a lot of like dot shading and stuff. So I'm thinking that might have a lesser, I mean, I'm not like a tattoo expert, but I think that might have a lesser chance of scarring than if I was doing like traditional line work with like a bunch of color, you know, like it should technically be like less trauma to the place. But who knows? Again, I have to talk to like an actual expert. So. What did you think of City of Brass? I loved it. I'm going to be doing a review for that today. It's one of the things I'm filming. It is currently 8 o'clock in the evening where I am. I have read Wuthering Heights. It is so dramatic and angsty, and I sort of love it. Would you ever get a tattoo that directly references a book or an author, like a character or specific symbol? If I ever got a book-themed tattoo, it would be what? The Night Circus. And that's probably it. I don't really imagine myself getting any other... I need to start doing my fucking makeup. I don't imagine myself getting any other book-themed, like a quote or anything, not really. But something for the Night Circus, or possibly even, I could maybe see myself getting like Starless Sea stuff, because there's some symbols in there that aren't like obviously book related. As far as the Shadow and Bone score, I'm also going to be filming today a like new information on the show like discussion. So I'm going to be talking about my feelings on the score, and then the names of the episodes that they released, and my like theories about what they're going to talk about. Nothing in like super depth, but just my reactions. I mean, sometimes in my head I feel like I want to get like a whole sleeve of something, or like a half sleeve or whatever, and I'm like, the chances of me actually doing that are so low. Like, I don't even know, getting a tattoo here, I don't even know if I'm gonna like be able to. One, for the scarring reasons, but two, like, I am a baby. Like, I don't like, even when I had my like my port and stuff, that area was always numbed. I put numbing cream on before they put the needle in. Like, the pain here, and like, it's not really, parts of it are bony and some aren't, you know, so I'm like, I don't know how that's gonna be. I don't want it directly on my collarbone, but like below chest, like I don't think chest tattoos are like super fun. So we'll see. I'm not really like I'm not a pain person, you know? Like, I'm not like a huge wimp about stuff, but I'm just like, I don't seek it out. You know, some people are like, the pain of a tattoo is like, I'm like, that's not me. Definitely not. I sort of hate doing lives on my phone because it doesn't pull up the chat like all the time. Like, it doesn't leave it up. So it's depressing. Does it feel similar to the pain of a sunburn? I don't know. How's your reading for the Hocus Pocus readathon going? We'll love a reading vlog. I'm not doing a reading vlog just because the month-long reading vlog's a pain. But the reading so far is good. The only book I've finished for it so far is House of Salt and Sorrows, which I really liked, actually. I'm currently reading A Deadly Education, which I know is like, a lot going on with that. But that's the book we're reading for book club. So we'll be discussing that at the end of the month. And then the next book I'm probably going to read is Gideon the Ninth. I'm not sure. And then probably Ninth House, and I plan on doing a reading vlog for Ninth House. So, hi Alicia. So that's my plan for like reading vlog type stuff. It's crazy because this time last year, again, I was not in a good spot, and it's so, I was going to talk about this, like, I don't know where, maybe on like Instagram, but I'll do it now because I'm here. But it's really nuts how different things are this year with my anxiety, because this time last year I was like full force flare bad. Couldn't even think about some of these books that I'm reading right now, like would have been panicky. And I was actually listening to a podcast episode for the Ologies podcast, which is like a science podcast. But last year they came out with a episode. They were doing like Halloween episodes, and they came out with a demonology episode, which last year that was like absolutely fuck not. But it's like based in history, like not actually like, it's not like a supernatural podcast, right? It's based on like someone that does like history stuff about that stuff. And so I was listening to it, and I listened to some of it last night, and I was listening for like the past couple of days. I don't like binge listen to podcasts, but there was some stuff last night that they were talking about that kind of worked me up a bit. Like, this was the most anxious I'd been in like months, and it was still like not bad at all. And they were full on talking about like demons and exorcisms, which is like stuff that I cannot fuck with when I am like fully in a flare. And I felt myself, it was so crazy. So my medicine that I'm on, so I'm on a daily anxiety medicine now. It's an SSRI, so it's technically an antidepressant, but they can work also for anxiety and OCD and stuff, which is what I use it for. And it's very low dose. I'm on like 20 milligrams, which usually people are on like 50. So it's really low. And that keeps my anxiety from spiking. Like, I don't have to take the Xanax to make it go down because it doesn't even go up. So that's like crazy. And so I was listening to some of that, and it kind of like freaked me out, but I was able to be like, okay, you are freaking out because you heard this stuff, not because something actually bad is going to happen. You know, like, feel the anxiety in your body. You know, like, think through, like, at this point in my life, I don't really believe in that stuff, like as that being a thing. I follow witches on TikTok that like work with demons, and so like they're less scary to me now. I'm like, like some of that stuff, again, based on your own religion, you're gonna feel different ways, but like I'm not in the same spot that I was with it like even a year ago. So I got anxious, and I took one of my Xanaxes just because it was before bed, and I was like, I don't want to fuck with this. But I calmed down in like 10 or 15 minutes with one Xanax, which is usually like when I was panicking last year, I had to take like 5 at a time, which I'm allowed to. I wasn't like misusing my medication. I take as many as I need to get the panic down. Because I take it in like 0.25 milligram doses, so like it's really low. And I was able to calm down. I was able to go to bed. I didn't wake up this morning anxious. I'm a little like, I can feel that if I wasn't on medicine, my body would probably want to be anxious a little bit, but it's more like I could identify that I was anxious about being anxious more so than I was anxious about the trigger stuff. And again, something like this would have sent me spiraling for months last year. Months. So it's just like, it's crazy. And I'll probably at some point be able to finish that episode. Like, it's nuts. And the fact that I'm like looking into, as you guys know when you're on here with me, like I look into like witchy stuff. I could have never done that even a year ago. Like thinking about that a year ago would have just caused like a huge spiral. So like I sat there last night and like talked to myself out loud, and was like, you have made such progress like between therapy and medication, astronomical. And like my own spiritual research, like I'm sitting here like not blending my eyeshadow. But the yeah, like the progress that I've made, I would say that as sucky as 2020 has been, 2020 for my mental health has been like great. You know, like for my own, I mean, obviously not related to like, you know, COVID concerns and like isolation, like that's not been great. But like for my anxiety, I have come so far in 2020 and in like some of my religiosity, like scrupulosity, OCD, and like intrusive thoughts and everything, like astronomically better. It is insane. So if you're somebody that's struggling with any kind of mental health, but especially anxiety, like just know that like it absolutely can get better. It absolutely can. Like, and it doesn't even need to necessarily always use medication, you know, like that just happened to be what helped me a lot and gave me the space to then use my coping skills more effectively. But like, if you told me like some of the stuff that I could do this year, like the things I could read, the things I could like learn about, all of that, like I'm still not sitting there watching horror movies because I don't want to. Like that's not something that's going to like better my life. But as far as like being able to read books without having a ton of anxiety and like not being anxious at work and all this stuff, like astronomically better. I'm not saying that I'm never gonna have a flare again in my life. I probably will, you know, but like where I am now in comparison to where I was is just outstanding. Like, yeah. The mental health growth inside of this buzz is astronomical. Honestly, like it alarms me about how like good it is, you know. Again, I will have anxiety my entire life. Anxiety is chronic, but the management of it is so much better. And when I do have a flare in the future, I am pretty certain it will not be as severe and will not last as long. And that's great, you know. So there is hope out there. If you have anxiety or depression or anything else, you can find treatment for it. So when did you know it was time to seek out medication? So I first got on meds, PRN meds, which was Xanax for me, back when I was diagnosed with cancer. That's what it took. Although I should have, like, if I would have been on Xanax in high school, my anxiety maybe wouldn't have gotten as bad as it did. I don't know. Who knows? Can't go back, can't do anything about that. But so I was like 25 when I first got on meds. And that was huge for me too. Like that helped. Like the times that I've gotten on medication has leaps and bounds improved my mental health. Like again, astronomically. Like it has been like, oh my God, why have I not done this sooner? But I also am like really leery of meds. I don't like using them. So yeah, so I did that. And then I was working with a therapist last year. And that's when I was like, when my flare was at its worst, I was taking like 4 to 5 Xanaxes a day to keep my anxiety like at a level of, I don't know, still fucking awful, but I could like kind of function. I don't know. I was still like having breakthrough anxiety like through that. And my therapist was really like, hey, like you should consider like working with a psychiatrist and getting on a daily med because then you just won't spike. Because the problem with my anxiety and my like I have anxiety, panic attacks, and OCD. So like, and my OCD is obsessive intrusive thoughts more so than anything else. So and not really compulsions. I have a little bit of compulsions, but not a lot. So that's when she was like, this could get it to a level where then the coping skills can be more effective because I didn't even have the space to like really do the coping skills because I was living in complete and utter terror. Yeah. So then I was like, okay. So then as soon as I moved home, and like in the spring is when I got Medicaid because I wasn't working when I first moved home. And I saw a psychiatrist, and the first medicine that she put me on was effective, and here we are. So I know that's not everyone's journey, but I think there needs to be more people talking about when their journey like is fairly easy like that, because everyone hears these horror stories of like, you know, you try to get on meds and it's the wrong one and you suffer for like years until you finally get on the right medicine, and like that could happen, yes, but that could also not happen. Like you could also get on something like immediately and like be in a good spot. So consider that as a possibility too if you're a little freaked out by the medicine thing, because let me tell you, I definitely was. So yeah, but it's amazing because yeah, I definitely couldn't be where I am spirituality wise right now if I wasn't on meds. just general anxiety stuff. And a lot of it has also been like my therapy training and like seeing a therapist myself. So I have a lot of like coping skills, but like I could not be doing this like without the medicine. So, and it's not like a crutch thing. It's just like it gives you the space to do the things you need to do and like get the coping skills and like do more like, especially for anxiety and like OCD, like exposure therapies that like are way too terrifying to even contemplate when you're not on like a medication for most people, you know? So yeah, it's crazy. Let me see. Just scrolling through and seeing if I missed anything. Yeah, I'm glad some of you are just commenting that like you can't imagine your anxiety getting better, or like, you know, people in your life are saying to work at other things. Like the thing is, I know that like mental health medication is very scary to people, but like the improvement there potentially is like so high. And again, I'm on like such a low dose. Like my medicine does not affect me at all besides me not being able to get anxious. Like it's so the effect is not at all negative, which I know is, again, not true for everybody. I'm not saying that that's a universal experience, but it is a possibility, you know? So I'm always for like, try it out, see if it helps, you know? Yeah, and I imagine that my medicine will like have to go up over time, like probably, but the fact that it's, you know, working, yeah. And I basically, as you guys know, I basically recommend everyone being in therapy kind of regardless. So even if you don't have anything like super clinical like anxiety or depression or something, it's still like everyone needs coping skills that they don't have, essentially, in my opinion. So this is going a little more. I think so. Statistically, the horror stories are way less common than you'd think that they are, but it's kind of like remembering that you're more likely to hear about those than you are to hear about the good stories, you know? Um, so I'm definitely team give it a shot. And this is from somebody who, again, like, did not want to be, like, I've had anxiety since I was born, basically. You know, like, I don't remember a time when I wasn't anxious. And it took me until 25 to get on any kind of anxiety medicine. And then it took 5 more years to get on, like, a daily thing. And there were times in my life, you know, before the daily that I didn't have anxiety, like, every day. But when my flares are bad, they're really freaking bad, you know? And, like, it's hard to live like that. So... Are there any comfort books that you read when you're feeling anxious? Not so much like comfort books that I go back to, but like I definitely read like romance books. That's where the romance books started for me. Was during the anxiety flare last year. I was like, I just need to read something that is not super scary. There's no chance of like paranormal anything. I read it before bed. It follows kind of like a formula, and that is definitely like what I turn to, because those books give me no anxiety whatsoever. So those are my comfort books, and I do appreciate them highly. I kind of don't love that I did a gold there, but it's too late now. I'm just going to try to blend some more green in there. Have you been reading any audiobooks lately? I actually haven't. The last audiobook I read was Son of a Trickster. And I do have Axiom's End by Lindsay Ellis. But I haven't been wanting to read it lately. I've been more in like a podcast mood. I go in waves between like wanting to listen to podcasts and wanting to read audiobooks. And right now I'm just in like a podcast state of mind. So we'll see. Every couple of months or so that changes around. So favorite podcasts. Forever 35, but I haven't listened to that actually in like a while. The ones I'm listening to a lot are more like woo-woo podcasts, as I do. Well, I listen to Ologies, which is a science podcast I talked about. They just recently put out an episode on condors, which was really interesting. They do basically any kind of like science-y type topic, very specific niche type stuff. A lot of animal stuff, a lot of like, I mean, basically any kind of science. Check it out. It's my favorite probably. And then I listen to Ghost of a Podcast, which is astrology podcast. She does weekly or maybe bi-weekly episodes. I listen to Fat Feminist Witch, which is probably like my favorite witchy podcast. I like her style the most. There's another one that I listen to. I think it's Witchy Woman podcast. But I don't love hers as much. And some of the things she says rub me the wrong way. I think she has some political views that I don't completely agree with, but she doesn't bring it up like a ton. And then what other witchy ones do I listen to? I would say Ghost of Podcast is the major one, and Fat Feminist Witch are the major ones. I kind of cycle between those. And then I will occasionally look up like psychology podcasts. I haven't found one that I like religiously listen to, but I'll look up certain topics, like especially on stuff that my clients are going through that I'm like, I want to research more into this. And then like I go down a rabbit hole of podcasts usually for extra knowledge on that. I'm not huge into romance novels, but is there any romance series or something that you recommend? Kind of depends. It kind of depends on like what you don't like. I will leave the replay up, Ryan. It kind of depends on what you don't like about romance novels, because then I can recommend you something based on like what doesn't necessarily have that vibe to it. Because yeah, at this point I have kind of read a number of them. So Hidden Brain. I'll have to look up that one. Wetting my beauty blender. Okay. I don't love that I did this gold, but I'm gonna pair it with either another green lipstick or a black one, so it won't look Christmassy. Sorry. Okay. Did I miss any chat stuff? Okay. I think I'm good. So I do this and do this. This is the new way I apply my under eye concealer because I saw it on a TikTok and I love it because it gives this like swooping thing, so it almost gives you like not a cat eye appearance completely, but like similar to that vibe. Cover up the zit that came out of nowhere. 31 and still dealing with acne. It's bullshit. Not as bad as I have in the past though, obviously. Yeah, again, medication can be so helpful. So I'm glad Zoloft has been helpful for you. Because yeah, I think I would have been way worse off this year if I hadn't had that. Would you ever do a full-on e-girl look, and what's your favorite TikTok aesthetic? E-girl, probably not, because e-girl reminds me way too much of like Scene. So I probably would never do that. As far as favorite TikTok aesthetic, what do you mean by that? Because I don't watch like a ton of like, I don't know. What do you mean by that? Because like, do you mean like what kind of videos do I tend to see on TikTok? Because I don't actually tend to see a lot of like makeup TikToks. I see some cosplay TikToks. I feel like my For You page is witch stuff, bi girls, it kind of depends if I'm joking a lot about, oh, like cottagecore. Yeah, I see a lot of cottagecore. If I joke a lot about online dating, my phone listens to me and hears that, and then I'll start getting like a lot of like funny online dating stories from like typically straight women, and we just get to commiserate on like how much men are awful. What else? Like I said, mostly witch content. Yeah, witch talk is what I get the most, and sometimes witch talk bleeds over into cottagecore, but I'm getting less cottagecore lately. And yeah, what am I getting the most of right now? I have a lot of like animal videos, to be completely honest. But I have red, white, and royal blue saved or on hold for my library because I figured out that my Libby app will let me, for some library books, not all of them that are available, but it'll let me send them to my Kindle, so now I can actually get more books from the library, which is awesome. And my library has like a way higher selection of romance books than it does of anything else. So I can listen to, or I can get more things from the library and read them. What country would you ever move to outside the US because you think it's a cool place? Where would I go? My heart says like the UK or something, like Ireland, Britain, Scotland. I mean, I would probably move to Ireland or Scotland before Britain. Like Scotland seems like it's doing pretty okay. So those are probably the places I would go. And you can like speak English. I'm not good at languages. I think I've talked about this before. There are plenty of other countries that don't speak English that I'm like, they're wonderful and beautiful. I am atrocious at learning languages. I'm just not good at it. And I hate that. I mean, I'm sure if I had to like live somewhere, I'd learn it, but like, I just don't retain languages. So it'd be easier for me to be able to move to a country that was a lot of English, obviously. And if someone was to speak Gaelic to me and just like I can listen to their pretty words and not understand a thing, it's fine. Like, it's totally fine. Someone asked if I would ever get my nose pierced. No, I'm not a big piercing person, also because I keloid scar. Because at one point I was supposed to have stretched ears because I got right before I moved to Philly, like almost 10 years ago, I got my ears pierced and I got them pierced at a higher gauge. And I got keloid scars at the back of my ear. So you can't see it anymore because I had to get the keloid scars removed. But basically, like, I had a hole, but then the hole was being grown over with scar tissue and, like, out the back. So it almost was like a pea-sized scar that was, like, fleshy on, was it both ears? Or is this ear still open? For a long time, this ear was still open. I don't think it is anymore, though. But it might be. But this ear was really getting a keloid. So, like, this ear, if you feel it, there's, like, a bump. So yeah, I basically can't get any piercings, which like whatever. I think if I got anything, like sometimes I'll wear a fake, I have, an earring that I got, I don't know where it is, that I got for, an emo like prom night that I went to right before COVID. And, I wore that as a fake lip ring, but I wear it as like an earring up here a lot. So I would probably get like a cartilage pierced if I could, but I would probably, like, cartilage very easily keloids even for people that don't get keloid, so I wouldn't do it now. But I am trying to buy, I have a ton saved on Etsy, some, like, ear cuffs, because I want some, like, decorative stuff up there. Especially with my haircut, having, like, an earring or something right here is, like, really cute. So, look at me taking so fucking long on my makeup. Ugh. So yeah, that's probably, the only piercing, but I'm not a big piercing person. Again, I'm not like, a pain person. It doesn't really appeal to me. I sometimes get recommended on TikTok this girl that does like cool piercing stuff and looks kind of cool, but again, I can't really ever see myself doing it because it probably wouldn't work for me anyway. So no point in getting my hopes up about that. Just making sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, I think I'm good. Hello. Okay. This looks more washed out than it actually is on camera right now. I might put more of my like green eyeshadow on so it looks green instead of like smoky like it looks right now. Not that smoky is bad. Which Halloween-centered Buffy episode should I rewatch tonight? My favorite Halloween Buffy episode is Halloween. I know a lot of people like the one in season 5. That's the like haunted house, which is also good. But my favorite one is Halloween. Like when they all are like their Halloween costumes. It's just good. It's my favorite. I rewatched that like recently. I think I watched it. Did I watch it last year? I don't know. Maybe the year before. It's my favorite. I love it so much. And, you know, she's like, Xander's a soldier and she's, you know, a like damsel in distress and stuff. I love it. I don't tend to wear makeup very like strongly out anymore. I wear it in videos more than anything else. And I'll do a lot more of like all over the lid shadow these days than I will do like a full-blown eye look, even if I'm going out somewhere. I'm just over it. I find it fun for this kind of stuff, but I'm all about the wash of color. Still fun colors, but like more like browns and stuff. I like Hoopla for audiobooks and stuff, but my Hoopla doesn't let me like send to my Kindle, and I have the old Kindle. I think for Christmas this year I'm gonna ask for like a new Kindle so I can like use the apps on a Kindle, and then I'll have like much more available to me, So, for books that I can get from the library. How are you enjoying Fix Her Up? I do have problems with it. It's funny because like I think I hadn't heard many people talk about like negative opinions about it. I'd mostly only heard positive. And yeah, I mean, I can see why some people would like it. I think it's interesting because there are things in it that I feel like are good for people that have certain kinks. It's not a BDSM book. It's not. But it is, I think it appeals to people that might like some BDSM kink stuff. And that's not a shame thing. It's just like, there are some things that I'm like, ooh, like there is, I said this when I posted that I was reading it on Goodreads. There's this like, there's like a slight age gap that's not hugely problematic, but enough that like he refers to her all the time as like baby girl. And I'm like, is this a little kink? A little bit, like, because there's a lot of talk about like her innocence. There's like the whole like virgin kink, she's a virgin that like hasn't kissed anyone. I'm like, whatever. I hate that. And then yeah, he can be like more like dominant, and like I haven't gotten to a ton of controlling stuff. He did a little bit of something. I'm only like 30% of the way in. But like I just read a scene that was like not quite a sex scene, but they were like doing stuff, and he's very like dom-y. So I'm like, oh, like, is this like a mainstream kink book? Like it's covering up that it's kinky, and like it's not overtly kinky. Like they're not in like a DS relationship, but like it's like undercover kink. You know, I kind of get that vibe. Yeah, you cannot read it in public. Yeah, it's like this. The sex scenes are like smutty. Again, I haven't read a sex scene, but they were like dry humping. Which I hadn't read in a romance book. I was like, are we really? But that just shows that like she's so innocent that's like first are doing stuff like through clothes and whatever. I'm like, I haven't like even heard about dry humping since I was like 17. like what is this? And it's an adult romance book. Anyway, yeah, I'm not gonna love it, but I'm fine continuing to read it. And the next book that I will hopefully get in on my holds list is the second book in the Bromance Book Club, which like I really like that series, so hopefully I like that more. Yeah, I didn't know so many people like didn't like it until I started reading it, and everyone's like, I hate this book, and I was like, oh, I thought it was pretty well liked. Yeah, if the amount of times he says baby girl is just like I hate that. So yeah, I have read A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I have a review of it, I think. Well, I have a reading vlog for sure. And we did a book club on it, so I didn't like it. I think I gave it 1 star, 2 stars. I think I gave it 2 stars. I don't even know what the roommate is. Someone asked me about the roommate. I do plan on reading Roomies, but I don't know what the roommate is. So now I have the song. If you guys are on TikTok and you are on like my side of TikTok, has anyone heard of this guy that goes by the name Corpse Husband? It's gonna sound really weird if you haven't. He apparently does like games and stuff. But he has okay, good. He has this voice and like he sounds so he has this song that people keep using for audio. And it's like, because I said the whole Dom sub thing, it's almost like a like sort of kinky song. And so now I'm like hearing it in my head in his like deep voice. I really want to know what his face looks like. And I know everyone does, but like I don't think his voice is Satan. He does have a song. It's called like E-Girls Ruining My Life or something like that. And the song also has like his voice in like, I don't know the technical terms, but like it makes it even more like warbly deep sounding. It's ridiculous. Someone said that his voice scratches my back, and I'm like, yeah, like there's something. But I'm like, I think he's ugly, you know. Like I think ugly is a subjective thing, but I think why hasn't he shown his face? If he's like conventionally attractive, he would have shown his face, right? Right. Yeah, let's pretend he's not. Like I've seen so I've seen the video where he like shows his hands. The man shows his hands and his arms, like in his arm veins a lot. Like he knows what to do to like appeal to people. But I hear his voice in my head all the time. Like it's a little ridiculous. I don't watch his videos. I only hear like the things that I see on TikTok, but I'm like, who is this man? I want to believe that he's ugly. Because it's not fair that the universe would create a person that has that deep of a voice, has those kinds of arm and like hand veins, and is hot. Like that's not fair. You can't like stack someone like that. Like that's just ridiculous. I don't agree. And he seems nice. Like I don't know. I've only seen a few things with him, but I'm like, God damn it. And yeah, for somebody, maybe he has really ugly mannerisms, because the thing I'm most drawn to are people's mannerisms. Maybe they're ugly. They're probably not. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to meet him. Like, but I'm just like, yeah, he's like the thing that's floating around TikTok these days. Yeah, I do feel like it's a trap. I don't know. Yeah, I see a lot of Among Us stuff. I have not watched like Among Us things. I know he plays with like, the thing is he's played with like PewDiePie, right? And isn't PewDiePie an ass? Like, isn't he? I'm not up on like gaming stuff. But isn't PewDiePie like a dick? I don't know. So I'm like, if you're friends with PewDiePie, I'm not sure that you're like a good person, you know? Who knows, though. I think he plays with other people, too. Is PewDiePie okay? See, I don't know. I'm not up on the times. Yeah, see, I've heard he's awful. I don't know. Didn't he do, like, some really shitty stuff? I don't know. I'm not up on, like, really popular YouTubers. And I don't watch gaming YouTube, like, at all. So, the only things I see are, like, yes, the Among Us stuff that gets posted on TikTok. So I know how Among Us works. I sort of want to play, but I'm really bad at those kind of games. Not that you can be, like, good or bad, but I don't know. I think that would make me nervous. You can see most of Corpse Husband on Anthony Padilla's videos. Yeah, okay, so yeah, people are saying that, like, he said the N-word, like, yeah, he's had some, like, Nazi affiliations. Okay, like, I'm not crazy then. I just feel like I've heard things. PewDiePie is in a bad place. Yeah, see, like, I knew I heard something, but again, I don't keep up. I don't keep up at all. I don't know, man. A lot of people are associated with Nazis these days. Like our president and many people in the Republican Party. watch YouTube take this down. Do you have any recs for new adult books where the sex scenes don't make you cringe into oblivion? Let's see. I'm way better about sex scenes than I used to be, so they bother me less. But what did I start with that wasn't super bad? The Unhoneymooners is like Fade to Black, so you could read that by Christina Lauren. That's one of the first ones I ever read. I don't hate the sex scenes in Well Met. They're pretty good because they like stay with the same writing style, so it doesn't get like cringy. Let's see, what else? I wouldn't say Talia Hibbert is a little bit too smutty if you aren't into sex scenes. Was Bromance Book Club okay? I feel like it was. Can't remember. I don't remember that one being particularly smutty. But yeah, sex scenes have gotten easier for me to handle now, so my cringe factor isn't as high on those as they used to be. Yeah, the dirty talk can be really awkward. Yeah, let's see. I would say The Unhoneymooners because it's Fade to Black. I think Bromance Book Club was fine because there wasn't dirty talk. Like I said, Talia Hibbert, I don't mind her sex scenes. That was like a hiccup burp at the same time. Did you hear that? That was weird. But hers can be a little like over the top where I'm like laughing because they're kind of so ridiculous. Yeah, the Fix Her Up is like really smutty. Yeah. Yeah, I skim read them when they're really weird too. Like I'll just be like, ugh, like I'm not into this. I really prefer when the author like keeps their same writing style and doesn't change it up, because so many authors do change up and I'm like, oh, now we're writing like romance like scenes, so you have to like change the way you phrase everything. Like, okay. Opinions on Jasmine Guillory. I haven't read any of her books yet, but if I do get a new Kindle for Christmas, I can get more of her books from the library, because I'm pretty sure that I have them at my library. They just aren't like Kindle accessible right now because I need to do it through the app. Thankfully, I haven't read a lot of books that have like overly dirty talk in them, because I get really weirded out by that too. Like, that's not my jam. But yeah, like I don't have any books with like someone, yeah, there's not a lot of like dirty talk in most of the books that I read. So, which is great, because I'm like, oh God, please don't. Like, that's so awkward. Please stop saying those things to each other. I probably won't read Carry On. It just doesn't really appeal to me that much. Just started Mistborn. I'm a little confused so far. What part are you confused about? I feel like it's I feel like about 100 pages in. I don't remember because it's been so long, but do you get kind of dumped into Mistborn? I feel like it starts to make a lot of sense. Yeah, I'm just not reading a ton of YA anymore these days either. Like, I was looking at my statistics for this year, and I've read like 75% adult. Probably because a lot of it has been the romance books, and those are all adult. But like YA, I read less and less of like each year. And yeah, Carry On is just not, it's just not an appealing, you know, it's based on fan fiction of a fake series. It's kind of like Harry Potter. I'm just kind of over that. I know some people like it though. Like, I'm not against it or anything, but it's just not super appealing to me. Yeah, she's problematic because of some of her like racist stuff. Look up anything about Eleanor and Park and you'll see discussions of it. Like, Eleanor and Park is very racist. And she really hasn't apologized for it, like, at all. Or, like, really realized, like, what she's done. So, I don't really follow stuff about her, though. So there might be more things than just that. Do you have any interest in trying historical romances? I'm not completely against them. I just tend to lean contemporary. I think the reason that I steer clear of a lot of historical is because a lot of it, and I know it's not all of it. I mentioned this in my like video about romance, but I always think of it as like a like good girl with like a rogue, you know, like he's the bad boy, she's the good girl, the reputation's ruined, blah blah blah, like that kind of stuff, which I know is very common in historical. And that's, I'm just not very into that. Obviously, like I mentioned with like the fixer up stuff, that's kind of what fixer up is. So I'm not really super into that like thing. But I did read was it Tessa Dare? No, Sarah McLean, that book, which was a little bit of that. But the first book is the Hades and Persephone retelling. What was it? A Robe by Any Other? No. I forget what it is. It's on my Goodreads. But I loved that. So I think I'm going to read more Sarah McLean books, because she has a series, because the guy in that is like one of the co-owners of a gambling den. And the rest of her books follow, like in that series, follow the other guys. Yeah, A Rogue by Any Other Name. I was right. Okay. It follows the rest of the guys in like the gambling den, and I liked that. And I know like what the romance is going to be in the second book, who it is involving, and I'm like, yes. So I think I'll read some of her, and then I might switch to like some Tessa Dare books, because those are the two authors I hear the most like good things about as far as historicals go. So I'm not super drawn to historicals, but I'm not opposed to them. Again, when I get more access to things from my library, there's like a fuck ton of historical romance books in my library available. So I can definitely read more, because I don't want to buy them. I just want to be able to binge read them from the library. Ooh, you guys are saying a lot of things. There you go. Come on. Oh, god damn it. Yeah, I've heard Tessa Dare is really good. You guys just gave me like a string of comments. I'm gonna look and see what you said. Yeah, I've heard the Meg Cabot stuff. Oh no, the second Sarah McLean book? No! That makes me upset. I did continue the Temeraire series. I've read the second and the third book. The second book I didn't really like, the third book I did, and I'm going to keep continuing with the rest of the series at some point. I haven't read The Bone Witch, but I want to. Spoiler alert, is very fun. I highly enjoy. Okay. Yes, I'm going to read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. That is our November book club pick for House Salt. So we'll be talking about it. Oh. I just realized I didn't put mascara on. Favorite Cosmere characters. Sazed, Kelsier, and Tensoon are probably like my top 3. I'm not getting fancy for anything. I'm filming. This is the only time that I put makeup on, is to film. Ooh, you guys are like saying a lot of things to me. Okay. Oh, the Hocus Pocus readathon? It's going well, but I've only read one book so far. Amanda Quick. I think I've seen her around. Thoughts about what you're going to do about the new Nine Wit Novik book? I'm reading it right now, because we're reading it for House Salt Book Club. I know some of you discussed this earlier, but yeah, the reason that we're still reading it for book club is because it is, and I mentioned this if you're a Patreon person, we talked about in the Discord a bit today, but there have been differing opinions from reviewers of color on that book, on A Deadly Education. It's completely opposite opinions from people of the marginalizations that were affected. So that's why it's like, it's not a black and white situation, which is, I know, not easy for people. Like, I know that we as a community and we as like a society really like it when things are very black and white, and it's like, oh, if a book is like bad, then we don't read it at all. Like, none of us read it, blah, 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 like whatever. And that works sometimes, but that's actually a rarity when that does work, because most books are actually like fairly subjective. I'm not telling everybody like you have to read it to make your own opinion. You don't have to. But I think since there are so many reviews out right now for it, of the people of those marginalizations, read the reviews from both sides and then decide for yourself. if you want to engage with that based on how you feel about it, like as far as what the reviews say. Again, you don't have to read if you don't want to, but I have noticed, like, even reading it so far, some of the initial reviews that came out that were really negative, I'm about 150 pages into it, and that's about halfway through. Some of the things people called out, and again, I'm not of these marginalizations, so my opinion does not trump theirs by any means. But there were some things that like are explained in context that I was like, wait, this thing that you said was a thing in here is factually not true, you know? So that sucks because it's just like, again, I'm not going to sit here and be like, if you feel you're going to be hurt by this book, yeah, don't read it. But like, make sure you get the opinions, since there are so many opinions of people of the marginalizations on both sides saying that they either love it or they hate it or whatever, like figure that out based on the reviews. You have a lot of the resources. So yeah, so that's why I'm still reading it, and that's why we're reading it for book club. And we don't have anybody who is of Indian descent on book club, but we do have two Black reviewers on there, so the locks conversation will happen, and one of the people actually read it, one of the people on the book club actually read it before it even came out as well. So yeah, we'll have a talk about like blind spots and, you know, like some of this stuff and like microaggressions in books and whatever. But yeah, a lot of the stuff so far is explained in context, but some people will be able to excuse that and some won't. So thoughts on J.K. Rowling. I've mentioned J.K. before. I'm not somebody who like worshipped the ground she walked on before, so like it hasn't really affected me, her being like a complete piece of shit. I am very much somebody that's like, I'm not throwing out my books. I do actually like plan on, like, I was doing like a reread of the Harry Potter series, so I'm on like book 3. It would be the book I would read next. I still plan on like continuing to do that at some point whenever I feel like I want to read the books, but I don't plan on getting anything else that would like buying merch or things like that for the series. But that's something that doesn't really affect me because I never really did anyway. I only ever got stuff sometimes from like mostly book boxes, like subscription boxes, and if I wanted to buy anything, it would typically be from like an Etsy seller anyway, which I still would be fine with doing because it's not benefiting her. So yeah, I'm definitely like not team throw out your Harry Potter books because I get that it's like bigger than that. But if someone wants to, totally fine. If someone doesn't want to, totally fine. I'm probably gonna side eye somebody if they're still like supporting like the franchises, as far as like getting stuff from like the main, you know, that like Universal that would give money to her, whatever. At the same time, like, could I see myself in the future maybe like going to Harry Potter World? Maybe, I don't know, but it's sort of like a harm reduction model, I guess. If I go to Harry Potter World once, 5 years from now, is that really like lining her pocket that much? I don't know. So that's kind of where I am, but I'm also kind of like, if you want to be more extreme than that, that's totally fine. You're totally like valid to do that. I know a lot of people are like covering up their Harry Potter books that say like her name on it and writing like someone else's name and stuff. Like that's totally cool. But I think expecting people to completely like disown a fandom that has been like influential in their lives for a long time is like probably harsh. I mean, like, I see both sides of it, but like I don't necessarily think that that's like a realistic way of approaching things. Again, I think that we really as humans like black and white answers to things, and there's just that's not always the case. So and I know that that's hard for people to deal with. And it's hard for people to deal with the fact that like not everyone's going to respond to something the same way that you are. And people get mad about that. And I'm like that. I've worked very hard throughout my life to kind of like not necessarily be like that. So let me see. Lots of yearning, one that's gay. Miss me with smut but emotional longing. Yes, ma'am. Let's see. One that's gay. Are you looking for like, are you using gay as an umbrella term? Because recently I read, I just finished it. Written in the Stars by Alexandria, something with a B. It's not out yet. It's coming out in November. But it is a women loving women romance that is sort of has some inspiration from like Pride and Prejudice or like Bridget Jones, but it's not a retelling. But it's these characters who sort of embody that a bit and have to fake date, and one is an astrologer, and the other one's like really serious, and they do this fake dating thing, and there is like longing. So that's the one that sticks out in my brain the most right now. I haven't seen any reviews for Addie LaRue. And I'm not really like seeking them out either. So we'll see how I end up feeling when I read it, because I plan on reading it. But I'm not going to be surprised if it lets me down, because Victoria Schwab like constantly lets me down. Deadly Education, another thing is that she irked me, is the fact that she like hedified a Dreary fanfic of hers. Oh, I didn't even know she was I mean, I knew she was involved in fanfic, but I didn't know she was in the Harry Potter fandom. That is kind of weird. But now that you mention that, I can sort of see the characters being like, which ones? Is the main character then supposed to be Draco? And Orion, for people who have read it, and Orion's supposed to be Harry? Is that the situation? In between the Red Queen series and the Kiss of Deception series, which would you choose? Kiss of Deception, because I don't like Red Queen. Ooh, good point. If you go to Harry Potter World, you don't actually have to buy anything specifically Harry Potter as part of the Islands of Adventure ticket. Yes. So if I go there and don't get merch, it's fine. Yeah. Do you listen to Girl in Red? I listen to Sweater Weather. Thoughts on reading translations? I think it's fine. I've only read a few book ever in translation. That's right. Naomi Novik did found an archive of her own. Why did I forget that? But I didn't know it was. I didn't know she founded it as like a Harry Potter person, or was Archive founded as like a Harry Potter thing. I don't know enough about like fandom history in a lot of ways, so. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about, yeah, like the Harry Potter world, like it's helping other people that are like involved. The original Dreary fanfic the book was based on was still up on her profile until it got published. Really? That's crazy. I didn't know that. I didn't know, like, so were her and like Cassie Clare like fandom friends? I didn't know. Like, this is what happens. Like, I don't follow author like stuff, so unless someone tells me, like, I don't know their tea. Unless they're a shitbag, and then I tend to know their tea. I haven't read the Witcher series, but I've watched the show and played the game, and love that. But I don't plan to read the book series just because I plan to keep it to the show and the game. Choose your table memes, but make it famous fanfic writers. Now I'm curious, like, who else is like a famous fanfic writer and I just don't even know it. Because, like, I don't know, like, I'm not in fandoms in that way. I find fan fiction really fascinating, but I'm not a big, like, fanfic reader or anything. So, like, I don't know these things, you know? Would you ever reread Fangirl? Probably not, just because I don't have a desire to. I think I still own it. But I don't really see myself rereading it. If anything, I would reread my, like, favorite adult romance books at this point. I'm taking a quiz to determine my love language, and I came to a question that asked if I wanted to be hugged. This quiz is kind of calling me out. I love the love languages quiz. I talk about that all the time in therapy with people. N.K. Jemisin still writes and posts fanfic. Does she really? For what fandom? Like, what? I know she talks about, like, Mass Effect stuff sometimes. She doesn't write Mass Effect fanfiction, does she? Because if she does, I'm gonna go read it. So. Why did I put my eyebrows on, or my eyelashes on before I did my eyebrows? That's an important question. Neil Gaiman did Sherlock fanfiction? What? I need to find out what fanfiction N.K. Jemisin writes. I I'm very curious. Martha Wells started with fanfic. Really? Game recommendations for a newbie. What kind of games are you looking for? Because I tend to just do like first person, like single player. I mean, story based games. What is with these authors doing fanfiction? I'm so shocked. I didn't know this. I'm not like totally surprised that Gaiman did fanfiction. Because wasn't his wife really into fanfiction too? Yeah, my favorite single player games are like Assassin's Creed, Final Fantasy, The Witcher games, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, the whole series. What else? Those are my favorite franchises, probably. I haven't played Fable, but I've heard about it. I've played like Skyrim, although I've never finished it like in my life. I played the new Tomb Raider, like the very original first like new of the new franchise. I like the new Tomb Raider. I have a bunch of games that I need to play. Oh, I like God of War. So I will play the new God of War when I finally decide to buy it. And I want to play, these are games that I haven't played, but I want to play the new God of War. I want to play Outer Worlds. I want to play Ghost of something with a T. That game. What else do I want to play? Those are the major ones. Oh, I want to play the new the Star Wars game, the something Jedi game. I have a lot of games I need to play. Yeah, Tsushima, is that how you say it? Yes, Ghost of Tsushima. That's what I want to play. A lot. I'll probably do a lot over the winter. I tend to game more in the winter anyway. Yeah, so the new Hades game, so is that something you can play on console? Because I don't have a PC to game on, which means I don't play a lot of these games, that are like really popular because I can't. So is that a Steam game? Because I think it is. But if I can play it on my console, I will. But I didn't think that you could. But I've been hearing people talk about it. I've been like, I want to play it. PlayStation. Yeah, I'm a PS4 person forever. I'm a PlayStation Sony bitch until I die. Like I can't play Xbox. I've tried, like my hands are permanently molded to the PlayStation controller. Like I can't play on an Xbox. Like it's like physically impossible for me to do. Like the buttons make no sense. Like I know I could learn, but like I don't want to. So let's see. Ooh, would I be able to do this with this? I will be getting a PS5, but I usually wait until about a year after they come out. Because then you start getting games that are specifically for the newer console. Because otherwise they're still getting released on the old console, so it's like, why even bother buying a new console? So I wait. And then it's a little bit cheaper sometimes, not usually like a ton, but sometimes. Yeah, the Ghost of, I don't know if I'm saying it right, Tsushima, looks like so good and like really angsty, so I'm into it. Oh, it's not just on Switch and Steam. One day I'll get a PC. It'll probably... Here's a fucking thing that like pisses me off, so maybe I'll just do this out of spite. I sort of know that I'll probably get a PC if and when I start dating a PC gamer. I was like, God, because I've wanted one for years, but I can't bite the bullet on like getting one. I know you can now get like pretty like well-built, like packaged, you know, PCs. But I have a hard time making big tech purchases, so it'll be me dating some fucking nerd boy. And he'll be like, I'll build a PC for you. I'll be like, okay. That'll be what it is. And I'm like mad about it. Because part of me like doesn't want to date nerd boys anymore. I don't know. I'm very torn about... Tally, that's a helicopter, baby? You don't need to put your ears back like that? Okay? Yeah, I'm kind of like, don't date nerds. Like, I know that they like me a lot. Like, nerds love me. Which is fine. Because like I'm nerdy, but like, yeah, I would totally date a nerd girl. Like, yes. The problem that I have is like, I listen to Sweater Weather, but I lean more towards men, and I don't know, is it like, I'm like, is it internalized homophobia / biphobia? Is it, what's that compulsory heterosexuality? Is it just that I've like dated a ton of men, so like I know how to date them? But like I have a very specific, I think I'm cursed. I think I have a very specific type of girl that I like. Women, because I would date women, not girls. Very specific. And then like men, like I'm a little bit more broad, and I'm like, no. I wanna go this way. Like, but I can't. Like I'm just like, fuck. I don't want this. I truly don't. If I could just be a lesbian, it'd be great, but I'm not. I'm bi. Like, so like, because if I go, like, that's the thing too, it's easier to date women because you can like, especially on like online dating, because you can swipe on a ton of them and like you can be friends potentially, where like men, like typically speaking, they like won't be friends with you if you're not like dating them because men are trash. So it's just like easier. But yeah, my type is so coordinated. So I know, yeah, we talk about himbos a lot. Have we considered lady himbos? I don't think I could date a lady himbo. The thing that makes himbos appealing is that they don't talk down to you. Like they know that you're intelligent and they're not like fighting for intelligence. I'm okay if a woman fights me for intelligence. I'm like, yeah, we're both smart. But if a man like tries to tell me what to do, I'm like, please never speak again. You know? So yeah, I say partner. I'm also very okay with dating like NBs. Like that would actually be like great. I did match with somebody who like identified as they them. Again, not in like a fetishization way. And I was like, please, because you won't have all the like gender garbage. And then they like didn't really respond a ton. And I'm like, fine, whatever. But yeah, I've also come to terms with the fact that like I will very likely end up with a man, and like that. Did you see like the faraway gaze that I got? I'm just like, fuck. Like, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I'll meet like my perfect unicorn woman and it'll be like fine. That'd be wonderful. But I know like my odds are low, and I'm just like that sucks. It sucks. Because I don't want to deal with the men anymore. I really don't. I just want them to do better. Yeah, the faraway gaze was a mood. Yeah, I mean like all of every gender has their shitty people. I get it, you know? But like men though. But the problem is like men are trained by society to be worse. You know? That's what makes it bad. Like if an NB or like a woman is bad, it's usually because of like their own issues. Like men are trained by Western society to be like pieces of shit a lot of times. I'm just like, no, I don't want to undo like all this programming that you have. I'm not an IT person. Like I can't, well, I guess I'm kind of like a brain IT person. I'm a therapist, but I don't get paid. I wouldn't get paid for that. You know, like I wouldn't get paid for like healing your childhood trauma that makes you a piece of shit. Need all men to go to therapy and not with me. So you don't want to date a QAnon stan. I don't even really know, like, I don't even understand what this QAnon thing is. Like, that's how, like, behind the times I am. I just hear it, like, thrown around. It's some, like, weird, like, propaganda thing, right? I'm assuming. That is exactly how I feel, Rachel. Yeah, like, I wanna date someone, but, like, I don't want to deal with the bullshit. You know? So, I don't know. I'm really... It's essentially a conspiracy theory death cult. What? Weird. It's so weird. Yeah, the thing is like, I know what I want, and I know the kind of person I want, and I'm like, can you just find me? Like, I don't want to go through, like, all this crap with people that, like, don't know how to communicate their feelings. You know how hard it is to date as a therapist when I'm just like, you know, yeah, I just want to be in a comfy relationship too. I want to get like 3 months into a relationship. That's like where I want to be. That's super hard to do as a therapist because I'm like, okay, like I don't analyze people in that way, but I'm like, hey, I know how to communicate in a healthy way unless I decide not to. And if I decide to be toxic, like I'm making that decision. But like, I know how to communicate and I would just rather like do that. And like other people don't know how, you know? Would you recommend becoming a therapist to those interested? And if so, what kind of person would you say is a good candidate? I love being a therapist. Um, what kind of person would be a good candidate? I mean, there's a lot of different types of therapists, so like a lot of different people could be a therapist. It really depends on like the style of therapy that you want to do. I think you have to be like pretty empathetic and willing to be like a good listener and willing to like admit when you're wrong. Those are the biggest things, I think. I think I missed something that someone said. Maybe. Maybe not. Okay. Get to a place where I don't have to like impress a man. Yeah, so the thing is in my like dating right now, I'm like, I'm not even gonna try to impress men. Like, you gotta impress me. That's where I am. And it's like, I feel more calm about it. How long did you go to school? So I did undergrad, obviously, for 4 years. And then I did grad school for 2. And then you do, for any kind of therapy, you do supervision for a certain number of years, where you're working, but then like once a week you meet with a supervisor who like goes over your cases and stuff. And then you can get like fully licensed in whatever kind of therapy profession that you're in. So like overall, it takes, from the start of undergrad, I would say it takes about 8 years of some kind of like educational experience. Yeah, I hate the dating apps too. I think once life goes back to normal, I'll be off the dating apps. But since this is the only potential to even try to date right now, that's what I'm doing. But like, it's not my preferred method. Yeah, it's a lot of energy, and I'm probably gonna get off of them pretty soon anyway because the closer we get to the end of the year, the closer I get to moving again. So, would you ever like to be a supervisor? Yes, I would love to. That's like something that I definitely want to do because I'm about to have my full license. Like in the next couple of months, I'll take my final test, and I would love to be able to supervise people after that. Why is black lipstick like so powerful? Who was the first person to wear a black lipstick? Because they figured it out. Honestly, being on dating apps during the pandemic is like a really good time to like test it out and like really lay some firm boundaries, you know? I haven't even played The Last of Us 1 yet, which is sad, I know, but I haven't. I own it. But my PlayStation 3 is like really old and busted, so I'm afraid that if I start playing a game on there, I like won't be able to finish it because it'll fully break. And that would suck. I'm using the Kat Von D one, and this is not my favorite. Well, it's not Kat Von D anymore. It's KVD Vegan Beauty or whatever. Because she's not a part of the brand anymore. But I've had this one for like years, and it's fine. But I've heard the Makeup Monsters one is really good, and then I probably think that the Black Moon Cosmetics, this brand that I really love, I think theirs is pretty good from what I've heard. So check out those 2 brands the most. Damn it, that line looks weird. Yeah, there are a lot of sucky and creeper dudes on dating apps, but you can really usually notice them pretty straight away and just swipe past them, which is great. I highly recommend it. And unmatched from people. My dating app life has gotten like so much better since I've unmatched from people after like bad conversation, something inappropriate, like them maybe not messaging me at all, like whatever. And just like being really, really picky. Like I know people say that like don't be picky on dating apps, but I'm like, why not? Like, just don't swipe on someone unless you think that they're like, I had a tendency before to be like, I would swipe on someone that I didn't really think was that attractive. Just to be like, well, maybe. And I'm like, you're not attracted to them. and there's a slight chance that they might be better than their pictures, but like, you're on a dating app, like don't do that. Like in person is different. Like it's just a different dynamic. So I feel like on dating apps, be super picky. In person is when you have more of an opportunity to like do organically, like meeting people. So like once things are better, I'm gonna be doing more like meetups, social activities, things like that to try to like meet someone in person. But for dating apps, be like super super picky and like have super super high standards. Like that's just, it's less exhausting that way, honestly, because you like really filter things out. You like you just the not matching, like, and the unmatching, like the unmatching is like a really, it's a big game changer, like a huge game changer. So yeah, just put up with no shit. It's kind of where I am on the dating app front. But I'm done, so I really need to go, even though I love talking to you guys. So yeah. How do you guys feel about this? I think it's cute. So I will see you guys later. I'm gonna go film, and I will talk to you later. Bye.